So I thought I'd change it up and come at y'all from my bathroom. Mostly because it's like the best lighting in the house right now. Anyhow, so I bet you never thought I'd be making this video. I know the title is not clickbait. The reason for this video is because I've been putting a lot more emphasis on nutrients lately, and become a little bit even more of a fruit snob or food snob or whatever than I normally am. And the reason being is I've actually been inspired by John Kohler from OKRAW. He has his own garden that's like the most epic garden you will ever witness, and he's just very, very wise. He's been raw for over 20 years. He's very wise in terms of nutrient density of food and phytonutrients and minerals and all of these things that are really important to get into your body that are not as available in the food that we're eating as they should be, or as we might think. So like 95% of the people that live in North America are getting their produce from a grocery store. And the problem with that produce, especially that fruit, is that it is not picked when it's ripe, and it is not grown in soil that's full of nutrients. So I went ahead and bought this tool. It's called a brix meter, or I think they call it a refractometer. And what it does is basically measure the nutrient density in your food by you dripping some juice right on here. So I'm gonna try it with a grape right now, that I got from Publix, which is a grocery store. So you drip some water on there, and then you close this little screen. It's not supposed to have any bubbles, but it's really hard to not have bubbles. And then, like the biggest nerd in the world, wow, these are probably the best of any that I've tried. So this is at 20%. So you can look online, look up brix charts for what is a good number and what's not. I was talking about how fruits like grapes are probably amongst the best you can eat from the store because they have to be picked right. If they're not picked right, they're not going to sell and they're going to taste like shit. So grapes don't ripen once they're picked, they rot. So it's not like you can, like if you buy a mango that's not ripe and then you let it ripen at home, sure, it's going to taste all right, but it's losing all that time on the tree that it's getting the vital nutrients by ripening attached to the tree in the sun. So anyway, the point is, if all you're eating is grocery store bought fruit, and I've tested, this is not the most comfortable situation for me. I've tested several different fruits, and most of them, the quality on this ranks like in the poor to average fruit that comes from a grocery store. Now that being said, some people live in the tropics and all of their food is tree ripened. And then you could probably get away with a fruit-based diet entirely if you were so keen to do so. For some people, it's just not enjoyable. We'll see how I feel once I get to Costa Rica. Although, when I lived in Ecuador, I lived on watermelon for like 20-something days, I think. So, that's it. Another crazy tool I got, because I'm very keen on my nutrient density, are these wide mouth mason jar lids and a vacuum pump that goes onto them and gets all the air out of your juices to save them from oxidizing and losing essential nutrients. So this is awesome. This was like super cheap on Amazon. I mean, I've just been noticing if I didn't drink my juice the day I made it, it would oxidize like crazy and separate to the point where it couldn't even like go back together. So I bought one of these just to be a bigger nerd than I already am. And just make sure that I'm keeping as many nutrients as possible in my food and putting them in my body. And I really, really, really just don't believe that in North America, it is possible to do that on just fruits. I mean, this little tool here, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Was $20, I think, on Amazon, something like that. And it's a real eye-opener, a complete eye-opener. You know, I'm in my 3rd trimester now. The idea of driving all over the place trying to find quality fruit is not super appealing to me. And unfortunately, mango season's off to a slow start. My uncle's tree is taking a little bit of time. So getting quality fruit right now is not the easiest thing. And for most people in this country, it's not the easiest thing ever, because any fruit that you buy in the grocery store is picked unripe, so it has time to ship, etc. And even then, it might be grown in total bullshit soil. Like, there's no such thing as picking unripe celery, but I tested my celery today and it was total shit. So that makes me want to get in the greens with all the different phytonutrients even more, and to get a variety of things, you know, so I can really keep all of the nutrients in my food as possible and keep my body as healthy as possible. And I know people say, oh, you know, the body thrives eating one thing because it's way simpler to digest. But that doesn't mean you're getting like any nutrition, you know? And then we can always compare ourselves to apes and chimpanzees, which I do, and I look to nature for answers all the time, but I've never seen a chimpanzee shop at Walmart for the bananas. So the difference between the fruit they're eating and the fruit we're eating is insanely different. And they are also not supposed to live 100 years. So we have bigger needs than them. And yes, we're the only species paying attention to nutrients, but we're the only species smart enough to be paying attention to nutrients. And we're the only species that's eating food in complete shit soil that we have ruined. And we're the only species picking the food and then storing it in weird temperatures and not, you know, doing what nature intended. Nothing about the way we eat is what nature intended. So we can't really compare ourselves to animals when it comes to the nutrient needs of our body. And if you asked me this a year ago, I'd be like, no, just live on watermelon forever and you'll be fine. But guess what? That watermelon was probably grown in some like random ass field with no nutrients. And depending on where you live in the country, you can grow watermelon fairly easily. Like Florida, you can, but the nutrient density is just not as high. And you need to get your body flooded with nutrients. And I just don't believe that an all fruit diet can do that in this country when you're buying your food at a grocery store. That being said, maybe in a year or two, you know, after I've had the baby, and I'm living in Costa Rica, and I'm growing my own fruit or going to other local farms and picking their fruit fresh off the tree, bringing my little meter to test the quality of the fruit, things will be different. But right now, it's not doable for me, and it's most likely not doable for you either. So if you're wondering why you don't feel full of energy all the time on your all fruit diet, that's probably why, because your all fruit diet is lacking in all of the essential nutrients and phytonutrients and minerals that your body needs. I think that's really all I wanted to say for this video. I've got another one coming up about the importance of balancing your omega-6 and omega-3 ratio. It is extremely, extremely important, and you're probably doing a lot of unknown damage to your body if your ratio is completely off balance, which like 99% of vegan diets are, because we get so many fats from foods that are very high in omega-6, which promotes inflammation. Yo, my boobs look huge. They're not that big. It's this shirt and the pregnancy. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I never ever will leave you guys without, oh, my boobs are probably gonna fall out. Without, let's bring my grapes out of the bathroom, without a clip of my cat. So let's find him and see what he's up to. Kito. Here he is. What are you doing? Why does he look so guilty? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, straight to the grapes. Hi, baby. Okay, that's it. I love you guys. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this video.